Supposed to watch this one live. Munster 39-31 over Clermont away from home. Hell of a comeback. The local broadcaster here, which is Sky Sports in New Zealand, decided not to play it live. I sent them a polite enough message saying I would like to watch this game, so they rescheduled it for a delayed broadcast, which is better than nothing. Although I was kind of spoiled to the result because it was on the bloody front page of every rugby website. Although, what I read was Munster stun, and then I quickly looked away. But I was pretty sure it was Munster stun Clermont rather than Munster stunned by Clermont. But you could look at it both ways, because Clermont started this one in pretty stunning fashion, you'd have to say. But anyway, I'll go over some of the key events of the game, some of the stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how this one went down. It was certainly one worth watching. 26 seconds is the first try, and Munster struggling with kickoffs is a bit of a theme of this one. I would imagine they'll be working on this throughout the week. But yeah, they made a meal of a few of them, including the first one. They knock off after the kickoff. Clermont end up back with the ball. Piciliato offloads to Raka, who is out on the left wing. Goes over for a try. Like I said, 26 seconds. All of a sudden, it's 7-0, and you're away from home in France trying to beat Clermont. It's not their best start. However, Clermont was actually guilty of conceding points directly after scoring, and so was this in the first case. Hanrahan kicks his first penalty. Has a pretty good night from the tee. Not always with the boot in general, but yeah, man. Pretty radar accurate tonight, man. 7 points to 3 with that penalty, just to kind of calm things down a bit. However, doesn't calm down at all. Not for the first 20 odd minutes from Clermont's point of view. Clermont get a very kickable penalty. They decide to tap it. They get another penalty. Eventually, the TMO rules as a deliberate knock-on from Daly, and the ref is happy to give a yellow card and a penalty, but not a penalty try, because he's convinced the Munster defender, who I think is Peter Omani, is steaming up to cover the attacking play from Clermont. At which point the TMO says, let me just show you that again. And quite rightly, man. There was acres of space out there, and it's going to be a winger on a flanker. Peter Omani's good, but he wasn't going to get there. So they do award the penalty try. It is quite fair, and it's 14 points to 3. Again, though, Clermont conceded a penalty immediately, pretty much straight away from a line-out, not long after scoring. 14-6, Hanrahan kicks a really good penalty. This one, hell of a kick, man. It drops down, bounces off the crossbar and goes over, which happened in 2 of the games this weekend, which is just crazy when you think about it, seeing as you hardly ever see that. CJ Stunner does well. Him and Ty Byrne do well to hold up Yato at one point. How they stopped him from scoring was pretty amazing. But it was delaying the inevitable, really, because a few minutes later, Pernod goes over on 14 minutes for a try. Remember, Clermont got the extra man. It's Daly, who's the left winger. Sure enough, they do a line-out. They spin it wide. Raka throws it all the way to Pernod, who is out there on his lonesome out on the right wing. So it's another good try for Clermont. So they kick it. It's a great conversion. 21 points to 6. It's looking like a pretty horrendous effort. At that point, I'm starting to question myself. Maybe it was Munster stunned by Clermont, but I'm still pretty confident Munster's going to win because, like I said, I read the headline at least before I averted my eyes, because I try to avoid the spoilers as much as possible. I would have liked to watch it bloody live. Anyway, 17 minutes, Munster go really close despite the fact they've got the man down. But they knock on trying to score, and the yellow card pretty much comes to an end. Hanrahan kicks another penalty, very cool customer again. So it's 21-9. So although they've conceded 21 points, they're at least ticking the kind of scoreboard over Munster. They're not letting themselves get too far away. Because sometimes you see teams, they're 21 points down or even 14 points down. They keep kicking for touch. They don't score any points. So when the other team scores points, they just pull even further away. At least they're keeping the scoreboard ticking over. Clermont win a penalty, but knock on in their own attack, but they had advantage. They maul it, at which point they get their 4th try. This is another one that they could have had a kickable penalty, but they kick for touch. they went for them all, and it's that man Foucault who gets the 4th try, the bonus point try for Clermont. 28 points to 9. So it just seems like every time Munster kicks a penalty, Clermont's going to up the game with a try, which is probably not going to pay off if you're a Munster fan. But if you can read my whiteboard, that's the last of the try scoring for Clermont, and that's pretty much all their points apart from one more penalty which they will kick. So pretty much all within the almost first quarter of the game. Clermont, at that point, actually, I should mention, the commentator said the scoreboard is looking pretty gruesome. 28 minutes. Man, Mike Haley, he had a pretty good game, didn't he? Peter O'Mahony put him into some space. 28 points to 16. I think it was Damon Delende who drew a couple of tacklers in the build-up to that one. Very nice move. Foucault, the try scorer for Clermont, puts a bit of a try saver on. A little Munster kick goes through. It looks like it's going to go out. Bounces off the corner flag, stays in. He has to put it down. TMO checks to make sure he's not taking it back, but it's a 22 drop out, which is fortunate for them. But man, Munster's scrum. It was supposed to be an area of weakness with that guy Wycherley being a pretty young gun up against some seasoned, experienced players from Clermont. But man, they were dominating. Absolutely dominating. One scrum penalty, you could see the confidence building in the guys. Clapping each other on the back and really looking into it. And then Hanrahan missed touch. I think it was Hanrahan. He missed touch. Brutal let off. To be fair, Penno did well to keep it in. So you got to give credit to him. Athletic jump back into the field of play. But anyway. However, I guess to get Hanrahan's mind back off that mistake, CJ Thunder immediately wins like a turnover. So they get another chance. Next kick does go into touch. And then Munster lose that line out. So neither side's really able to get any continuity at that point. And it goes into halftime. Second half, Munster kick another penalty, 28-19. But again, they struggle with the kickoff. But I think from that kickoff, it was like a knock-on, which led to a scrum. And the scrum at this point is good news for Munster because they win a scrum penalty. So they kind of want the scrum. It's really become an area of strength. Then 47 minutes, Hanrahan, again, he's got another penalty chance to kick for touch and really put his boys into an attacking zone. Kicks the bloody thing dead. So, honestly, full credit to him for being an absolute radar boot from the tee, but he made a couple of howling errors kicking for touch. So, anyway, massive let-off. 51 minutes, another penalty for Munster makes it 28-22. Really starting to close things up. 55 minutes, Munster kick to Clermont's 22. Clermont's line-out's not straight. They're under a bit of pressure. Remember, with Yato having to operate in the second row, that was supposed to be one area that they could be put under a bit of pressure. Stunder goes close. He gave Damien Penno a big don't argue before being brought down by somebody else. But Munster gets stopped. However, the TMO calls it back for a no-arms, like a shoulder charge, basically, by Kankuri. So he gets yellow carded. So here it is a really big-time chance for Munster, especially because they kicked the penalty. It's 28-25. They've got the extra man. Now it's time to really turn the screws and get in front. But finally, after scoring all these unanswered points, they actually concede a penalty, which Clermont decided to kick. 31-25, taking things back out to a more comfortable lead for them. However, the yellow card kind of comes to an end, and I'm thinking, man, Munster's not really managed this that well. It's a bit disappointing, but they keep the pressure on, and the ref warns Clermont that maybe another yellow card's coming. Another yellow card might be coming because they keep conceding penalties down their own end, and that's got nothing to do with the shoulder charge. It's a separate issue. Team penalties count accumulating is separate from that guy getting yellow carded. It's not like he was yellow carded for that reason and you kind of get a reset. Nah, separate issue. Munster go 5 metre line out. Reece Marshall. I love it how the Kiwi's the one with the most bogan. Do you guys use the word bogan? Hairdo with that bloody thing on his head. But anyway, he's out. So they have another line out. Clermont concede a penalty at line-out time for taking out Tyke Burn in the air. It's a pretty bad one. It's that man Lunnan. He's just come on not that long ago, I think, and he gets yellow carded. So, another chance for Munster. This time, the next maul, CJ Stander gets the try. No mistake this time. Even Damien Dillon is getting in there pushing him. So, yeah, big try and big conversion. Like I said, Hanrahan with that conversion, man. Like, not an easy one. Proper pressure kick, and he nails it. So they go in front 32-31. First time they've been in front of the whole bloody game. 76 minutes, they win another scrum penalty. There's some handbags, and they go for that kind of brave. I was going to use a different word, but I'll go with brave because it's less. It's a G-rated word, brave. But yeah, they go for the call not to go for the sticks. They go for touch with the man advantage. They put on a little line-out move. It goes close. The ref's like, nah, I got no clear grounding here. However, on review, sure enough, that man O'Byrne did manage to dot the ball down on the whitewash. So it is a try, another conversion, 39-32. 14 points scored during the yellow card. Absolutely. Like, Munster were in touch without the yellow card, and then you give them that yellow card, man. They're not going to make a mistake second time round. Like, first time they only scored 3 points. They were up for it. So, yeah. I mean, they do concede a few penalties, Munster, towards the end of the game. Clermont kind of throw it at them, but there's nothing doing. Munster hold out. Famous victory. What a hell of a comeback, man. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. Hell of a game. I really wish I hadn't been quite as spoiled because it took a little bit of the wind out of it. Because, I mean, geez. Scoring after less than 30 seconds, being 28 points to 9 down, 21 points to 9. It was 14-3. You know, at all points of this game, it looked like Munster were pretty much done for. But like I said, they kept the scoreboard ticking over. Stats, possession 45-55 in Munster's favour. They had 57% territory, Munster. 331 run meters to 284, so they edged that area as well. Defenders beaten was 18-16 actually in Clermont's favour, but 5 clean breaks to 3 in Munster's favour. Turnovers conceded maybe a little bit concerning, 14-8 with Munster conceding more. But their maul was super effective, 24 maul meters compared to Clermont's 11. Kicking from hand was actually relatively low in this game, 20 odd kicks each. Like, you know, other games you see 30 or 40 from one team alone. So 79 tackles made by Clermont, 76 made by Munster. So yeah, Stander was a pretty happy man. He gets star of the match. Really looked to be enjoying that one, and why not? Matsushima was pretty much invisible for Clermont. Didn't see him get much. I think he had like 5 run meters the whole game, 2 carries. Man, after last week. But Yato had 43 run meters. Haley had 134 run meters. Stander had 9 from 10 tackles. So, yeah, glad I got to see it. Like I mentioned, hell of a game. What's a comeback? You don't see many games like that, especially away at Clermont. Maybe that's one where it's a good time to go there with no crowd going on because they seem to be a pretty loud bunch when they are there. But, yeah, hell of a start. Hell of a finish. Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts on this one. Key performers, key moments, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.